Hey there, welcome back to my channel. Today, I am bringing you another one of the darkest videos I've ever seen on Reddit. The Tromp case, Australia's strangest family escape. I tried to find more information on this case, and I did find a few articles here and there, but not much. So, a lot of the details come from the original post. Let's get right into it. I'm sure many of us have sat around and wondered what we would do if we came home and our family was gone. Where would you go? What would you do? Would you stay in the house and wait for them to come back? Call the police? Well, some people would take matters into their own hands and try to find their missing relatives all on their own. But imagine if you came home and your entire family was gone. No note, nothing. Just their cell phones, IDs, bank cards, everything left behind, as if they just up and vanished into thin air. That is exactly what happened in today's story. Imagine waking up on an ordinary day and discovering your entire family is gone. They left everything behind. Cell phones, IDs, bank cards. No warning, no explanation. And when they were finally found, they were scattered, paranoid, confused, and terrified of something no one could ever explain. On August 2016, the quiet town of Sylvan, Australia, was home to the Tromp family. Mark and Jacoba Tromp, hard-working farmers, and their 3 adult children, Ella, Rihanna, and Mitchell. They lived a simple life, respected, religious, calm. No history of mental illness, not in the slightest. But on August 29th, something unexplainable happened. The entire family got into their car and vanished. All they took with them was some cash. They drove hundreds of kilometers into the Australian countryside. No destination, no reason, no goodbye. For the first 2 days, nobody knew where they had gone. Then, Mitchell, the middle child, suddenly left the group and returned home on his own. He told his worried friends that he didn't know where his family was going, but he decided to return home since he felt something wasn't right. However, he quickly called his parents to let them know he'd be staying home for a few days. At this point, the whole situation seemed a little weird, but perhaps not too worrisome. Parents sometimes send their adult kids to run errands alone. Still, that night, the family was not heard from again. 2 days after that, Ella and Rihanna separated from the rest. Later that same evening, Rihanna was found wandering near a riverbank. She was dazed, couldn't quite tell anyone where she'd come from, but insisted someone was after her. She refused to tell the police what had happened or who might have been chasing her. Meanwhile, Jacoba, the mother, was found several hours later after she broke a window at a nearby house and was trying to break in. She was immediately taken to a nearby hospital for a psychotic episode. At the time, the police believed that she might have done this to avoid being recognized. Mark, the father, was discovered 3 days later in a nearby field. According to the farmer who found him, he was sitting in the middle of a paddock, clothes soiled, looking scared and paranoid, terrified, muttering about being watched. Even Ella, the most normal of the family at first, later admitted, "We were running from something terrible," but she never said what. When the police finally reached out to the family, they refused to press charges, claiming that everyone had simply made mistakes and that they were deeply sorry for the distress their behavior had caused. They also stated that Mark and Jacob had been under stress lately due to the work they had to do on the farm. So, what triggered this mass escape? The theories that surfaced were astonishing. Shared psychosis, also known as Foley A+ers, happens when a person shares delusions with someone else, usually a close relative. It's possible that one family member snapped and the rest followed in fear. However, that doesn't seem likely, since Mark and Jacob seemed fine before the incident. Aside from regular stress, secret cult. Some claimed they were involved in an underground religious movement, government paranoia. Mark allegedly feared being tracked by GPS and data surveillance, spiritual or paranormal encounter. Jacob had apparently seen something in the bush that disturbed her so much that she convinced the entire family to flee, whatever it was. Some say the answers lie in the eyes of the beholder. Here is what is known for certain. The family left their home on August, and nobody knows exactly why. They drove hundreds of miles in silence, sleeping in their car, surviving off the little food they brought with them. Eventually, the vehicle ran out of gas, and the family was forced to abandon it. Mitchell, the middle son, changed his mind and went back to his family, finding them fearful and paranoid. He then took his sister to a friend's house before going back to his parents. In the meantime, Rihanna wandered onto a property and panicked when the dogs started barking. Believing she was being chased, she fled to another area. She was eventually found by police and taken to a hospital, although she showed no signs of mental illness. Mark, the father, walked barefoot for 17 kilometers after running out of fuel and needed treatment for serious blisters on his feet. It appears as though the family was together for most of this, as the farmer who found Mark said that Mark had acted as if he had recently been living out of his car. When the police searched their car, they found several concerning items, including a hammer, a crowbar, duct tape, zip ties, a large knife, old towels, and blankets, all wrapped in plastic and covered in dirt. This made investigators suspect that they might have used these items to restrain someone or something, but they don't know who or what. While the family has refused to speak publicly about the event, they did agree to speak with the police. Their story was bizarre. They claimed that on the morning of August, they packed up their car and left in order to escape something terrible. They said they were very afraid, but could not explain why. When asked if they were being chased, the family claimed they were not sure. They refused to elaborate further. Days later, a lawyer for the Tromp family released a statement saying they were deeply affected by the significant distress their actions have caused their families, friends, and the wider community. The lawyer added that the family was seeking help and support during a difficult time and would be making no further comment about the incident. After the investigation concluded, the police were left scratching their heads. For over a year, the Tromp family had been relatively normal, hard-working, church-going people who were well respected in their community. Then, without any notice, they had a complete mental breakdown, running around the countryside in terror. But what they were fleeing remains a mystery. When they were finally found, the family was suffering from exhaustion and severe dehydration, but otherwise unharmed. After some time, they were able to return home and continue their lives as if nothing had happened. What is creepiest about this case is that none of the family members have ever fully explained what happened. There are no records of them being involved in any criminal activities. They have no history of mental illness. They simply snapped and ran away. In the end, the case was quietly closed, but the mystery still echoes. How can an entire family, functional, healthy, intelligent, just unravel overnight? Were they running from something real, or was the real danger inside their minds? It makes me wonder what sort of thing could happen that would cause an entire family to abandon everything and run for their lives. I'm glad they were okay, but the fact that no one knows what happened makes me feel like something similar could happen to me or my family. I hope this story had a happy ending, but I suppose we'll never know for sure. I hope that this story had a happy ending, but I suppose we'll never know for sure. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out another one. Thank you, and see you next time. Bye.